It's another beautiful Saturday, a special edition of Politics Today on independent television. Isn't it often this lovely Saturday morning? We want to say Happy Children's Day to everyone out there. Usually when we talk about Children's Day, the feeling is that this is just a day for children. Even we that are adults, as it were, we're also children because we're giving birth to by parents. So our parents call us children, we call our children children, so the chain continues. That's the way life is, and that's how God created it. My name is Sonny Duke Okosun, thanking you for keeping a day with us on the program. Well, it's still on our countdown to the May 29 inauguration. Come Monday, May 29, President Muhammadu Buhari will be handing over formally to the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima. That means the 8 years of Buhari's administration will officially come to an end on Monday, the 28th of May. In the last couple of days, particularly this week, has been one activity or the other as it relates to events lined up to herald the new administration. We've seen the President-elect and the Vice President-elect being conferred with national honors by virtues of their new status. And earlier this week, we saw Mr. President taking the President-elect round the Aso Rock Villa. The wife of the President-elect was also a visitor to Aso Rock, where the President's wife, Aisha Buhari, took her round on the sightseeing to understand the inner workings of the Aso Rock Presidential Villa. That's important because it will help them to settle in and get into the business of the day. But as President Muhammadu Buhari leaves office, what will he be remembered for? Good, bad, ugly? I don't know what part of the divide you belong to. And what are the expectations from the incoming administration in terms of the areas that should be focused on to take Nigeria out of the woods? These are the questions we are asking this morning. And I'd like to welcome very specially our panelist on today's program of Politics Today on independent television. Let me welcome from my extreme left, a comrade, a politician, public affairs commentator, a grassroots civil society activist, Comrade Roy Oribabo. Roy, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And close to him is a businessman, politician, public affairs analyst. I'd like to thank very especially Chief Daniel Akwamoha Matthews. Thank you for joining us on the program.
It's a privilege and honor to be here. Thank you for having me as well.
We also have with us a member of the Edo State Civil Society Organization. In fact, is a leader in the civil society movement in Edo State and in Nigeria, Bishop Osadolo Ochei. Bishop, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, listeners and viewers at home.
Well, they call him a politician with a difference, and that's because he's never afraid to speak the truth to power. A grassroots politician indeed, Barrister Gentleman Amego. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Duke.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty of our conversation. President Muhammadu Buhari is leaving the stage in the next couple of days, specifically on the 29th of May. When we look back, people are quick to point to some of the things that he didn't do well, without also balancing it with the things that he did well. Well, what will he be remembered for, or what will you remember him for the most?
Well, first and foremost, I thank God for his life. He came into power as a very sick man. He was able to travel the world. Now, he was energetically because he's fully well. We are grateful to Nigerians for supporting him to get well. But looking at his administration, the harrowing experience for the past 8 years, long 8 years. Would you think that this 8 years will come to an end? A few hours from now, it's going to come to an end, and a new president will come on board. Thank you for the services to this country. On many occasions, he himself complained that whether he has done well or not, he's asking for
forgiveness.
To forgive him.
To forgive him for what may have happened. Well, we thank him for having the sincerity to talk aloud. But for us, from this side, looking at his administration, nothing to write home about. I can always say, what are you going to thank him for? his inability to complete East-West Road, his inability to be borrowing money. Every time he's borrowing money for what we don't know. His inability to allow students go on strike for 9 months. His inability today our boy is serving jail sentence in UK, that's Ekore Madu. He said he was giving 800 million to build the hospital. You didn't go to find out whether the hospital was built until they got him arrested. As a leader, you must have capacity to carry the people along. This Buhari did not do for these 8 years. People are captured in railway stations, they are kidnapped, they will not leave his house or rob to find out. People are killed, even in Katsina. He doesn't go to meet families of the victims. There's no time. If an American is sentenced in Russia, the government will go all out to ensure that that person is brought back home. If an individual is killed, America goes all out to find out what that person should be killed. Till today, our daughters kidnapped in Sambisa Forest. They are still in Sambisa Forest. Nothing. In Sambisa Forest, not in Nigeria. He has it on his table, the map of Nigeria. He can just press the button and you will know where these people are. He's unable to do that. He's unable to show sympathy to our Nigerians who have been killed day to day. In his own administration, there is nothing you can remember him for, except the fact that he's now very well, live and hearty. Thank God. So, when you talk of Buhari today, even when he's making broadcasts, you are anxious to go and listen to your president talking. You don't hear. You don't even hear anything. And maybe that's his tongue. I'm sorry about that. But the painful thing now, you are going Fiawa, you are borrowing 800 million to give to 50,000 Nigerians. Who are the 50,000 Nigerians? Is that what we want? We want soccer in this country. Educationally, economically, you look at rice production. Nigerians are producing, as somebody said, farmers now smile to the bank. But has it affected the common Nigerian? That because we are producing rice, people now buy rice at the rate of 7,000 a bag. People are stabilizing for 8,500, you know, for all this period. 8,000 a bag of rice. And people will not do it. Now you can't say, now the security is not there in this country. Look at our people. They are killing our farmers. And he said, if anytime he comes on board, no more killing. Where are we? Okay. I will make ton naira to $1. Where are we? Okay. What did he say he would do that he has done? Except that I belong to nobody, I belong to all. He is on one way, the wife is on the other. So, thankfully, we have not really enjoyed him. Okay. So we are happy that he's going. We wish him well. All right.
Thank you very much, Vice Gentleman Amego. Let me come to Bishop Usadolo Oche. In Barrister Amego's analysis, he talked about the East-West road that has been there. It didn't start with this administration. Even when we had the president from the Niger Delta region, that road didn't see the light of the day. That is not to say that if Mr. President had the willpower to do that road, there's nothing wrong if he decided to do it. But this administration is also credited with completing, commissioning or inaugurating the second Niger bridge. Are you more concerned about all of these things, or you're more concerned about the fact that you did promise to tackle the economy, fight insecurity, and tackle corruption as it were?
Thank you very much. The East-West Road was awarded by Jonathan administration.
Paid for.
In case you do not know.
And paid for.
And paid for. That it was abandoned. President Muhammadu Buhari did not find out what happened. Why was this job not done? Who is the contractor? Where is the money paid to you? So it shows that something is actually wrong with this kind of administration. Yes, the second Niger bridge was also awarded by Jonathan administration, paid for. That they completed it or partially completed now.
They completed it. I mean, let's say the way it is. And inaugurated it.
And inaugurated it.
Yes.
I have not passed it. That's why I'm using the two terms. He completed it or partially because
Completed it and inaugurated it, yes.
Now that he completed,
No full.
okay. And that's why I'm
But
using the
it's been inaugurated.
It's passable.
It's been inaugurated.
So now that it's partially completed, it's not passable. It's also a pass mark on his part because he can also abandon it and not having one fall. Now the Iruwa, Uromi, Igbanke, Amukpe road was also awarded by Jonathan administration to be dualized. Up till now, nothing done. They will see them walk there and go to another 10 kilometers or 12, walk a little, another 20 kilometers, walk a little. The Benin, Ekpoma Auchi, Okene road was also awarded by Jonathan administration and walked on to a level. So if for 8 good years they cannot complete a road that Bomodia Gowan administration awarded and it didn't take them 1 year to complete, I don't know what percentage of mark I will give such an administrator. So for me, it's an abysmal failure. Muhammadu Buhari, the president, or outgoing president, failed Nigeria woefully. And all the promises he made during his campaign in 2015, precisely and underscore, was total failure. One, I will ensure that dollar become equal to a naira. And dollar is now 700 naira or more. I will ensure that fuel become 40 naira. Today, I bought fuel in this country, 700 naira a liter. I will ensure that there is 24/7 hour light in this country. Today, the light went down. At times, 8 hours, 7 hours, or a week, no light at all. Or the highest when they give us is no more than 12, 14 hours. Now, if all these things were the promises, particularly security challenge, a promise us that within 3 months of his administration, he will wipe away Boko Haram, he will ensure there is no longer insurgency, the Chibok girls will be returned home. But today they are still in captivity after 8 years plus. Somebody's children that could be his own children. Even the ones that were, what was this next other community where they also kidnapped them, till today. And the Kaduna Railway kidnapped persons. Not all of them have been returned. And he's a trained soldier. If he's a civilian person like Ashwaju Bola Tinubu, we could understand that he needs soldiers to advise him. But this is a trained military personnel that ought to know more about security, because the Constitution provides that the business of government is the protection of lives and property and our welfare. No, we don't talk of welfare in this country, but security is complete failure. So if in all these areas our educational standards have fallen, years or months there will not be opening of a Nigerian university. Education or institution that ought to run for 4, 5, 7 years will run for 15 years. So I don't know which area I can wake up and say that this our outgoing president, Muhammadu Buhari, have fared well or have impacted on the life of the people of this country. I don't see any area. Hardship everywhere. You walk on the street, you see people begging you 100 naira. 100 naira, 50 naira. In the country that God have so blessed and put together.
But isn't the first time we find people? I mean, we have beggars on the street.
Yes, we have, but that's not the type that a gentleman, this is a complete gentleman. At times they go to my wife's shop and say, I beg, no food. If it's this thing they are flying there, if it's 100 naira, 50 naira, buy from me. A complete father and mother, a gentleman. So it's so bad. The 8 years was so bad.
Okay, let me push you there. Chief Matthews, let's get your take on this. I mean, from the business perspective, what do you think the present administration under Muhammadu Buhari will be remembered for?
It's a very difficult one. I've been very critical in different aspects of this administration. Today, let the spirit of godliness that is remaining in me very little. Because the situation is so critical, where beggars are actually begging other beggars for help. Or beggars helping other beggars. It's so critical right now. Let me put it on a perspective that most generous thing I could do to say about this current field administration is the energy reform bill they passed just not too long ago, where they allow states to be able to generate their own power. And somebody like me who is so heavily into the green economy, the biggest, fastest growing economy right now across the world is the green economy. We're running out of fossil fuel. It's polluting the health, it's polluting our water, the ground, and everything. Nuclear energy is also, I mean, the risks of Nigeria, we can't even maintain a road, let alone a nuclear energy. But we can look at the green economy. That bill is a game changer. It's a game changer if we have the people that have the will, the intention, and the clear vision on how to improve on that. So on that business level, I want to give him a credit on that. Another thing that I might give him a little bit credit for, which wasn't really properly stated, is on a business level. The 2020, although it's political, but still it has economic tie. The 2022 electoral bill, updated in 23 early, is the best in the world. Because
so would you give him credit for that?
And I'll give him, I'm trying.
No, would you give him credit for that? Just give him credit for
I'm
that.
trying to do that, okay. But the spirit is willing, but the flesh, the reality is biting.
But you're not being sincere.
No, I'm trying. No,
if it was to him that was better,
no.
you give him credit for that.
I'm trying to give him the credit, but I also see there's some element of failure in it.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the first, so I'm trying to give him the credit, but because he lacked vision, he failed still in it, even though the good thing is supposed to have succeeded for. Let's take the energy bill. The bill was passed, but there's no autonomy of the state in it. Because you can't say, I give you something, but I'm still going to control how you use it. We want total autonomy, like Edo State, for instance. The reason why we don't have a lot of factories coming to Edo State is, one, we lack skill set of people and the energy issues in Edo State, and obviously the road business. In an economic sense, right, if we have that freedom to have total control of renewable, creating our own energy source, and the federal road, we have access to give the state access to develop the federal road. Don't restrict the state. Then let the state send you the bill. You know, they build the road, send you the bill. That would be good economic sense, but it's living. So he achieved that. That's one thing I can say, he can look back on and say he passed the bill, but he did nothing to. So I want to give him a credit. I've been very critical about him for months and years, but that little credit of grace, it may not last too long, but for now.
All right, Comrade Roy, let's get your take. 8 years, President Muhammadu Buhari. I mean, it's something outgoing president longed for, yearned for, prayed for, tried 3 times, 4 times, he got it. Looking back now, aren't there some lofty things that we can always remember President Muhammadu Buhari for?
Yes, definitely. There are many things we remember Buhari for. We cannot run away from that. The theory and the principle of lazy youth was formulated by Buhari. We will remember him of that. Nara swap issue, we cannot forget that in a hurry. We heard Nara was competing against Nara in the open and the parallel market. We will not forget Buhari in a hurry. A situation where we cannot access our farm, we are not going to forget Buhari in a hurry. As we are talking now, there is no road that is motorable in this part of the world. We cannot forget Buhari in a hurry. To me, what's critical, the good aspect of Buhari is that he was able to use the Nigerian economy and Nigerian resources to turn his own personal life around. If you look at Buhari now, from a sick man to a very man that is very, very stable in terms of head, to me, that is good. You have benefited from Nigeria at that level. Therefore, those are the things we will not forget Buhari in. Buhari ran a government that was very decisive, not a government that was built on nepotic disposition. A government that always believed he had to be my own, had to be my people. He gave his own people, the ethnic nationality that identified. He gave them a large level opportunity to oppress. You know, the president, the government of Muhammadu Buhari is one of those governments that if you remember, anytime I remember the policy of Buhari, I always shed tears. Because in that been issued, the man was not there for it. As he's about to take a bath from the government, he's also telling us that he's relocating, if we don't defend him, he will relocate to a neighboring country. This is the first time we are hearing that from a president. It have never happened before. And that shows to me again that the issue of Buhari, whether it's issue is from Nigeria, we have to quickly interrogate those processes. I have never seen, he's supposed, after being a president, he's supposed to not be a statesman. That people will not be running to. You know the lives of Obasanjo, people run to Ota to go and see him. When he finished, people go to Ota, you can see it. The former president Jonathan, when he finished, he relocated to his
even a military leader.
People are running there to see him. But we are seeing Buhari in 21st century, after ruling Nigeria as a military and as a civil leader. He's telling us that he's relocating to a nearby country. And the leaders of this country are not bothered. I'm seriously bothered because that statement connects what I cannot really explain. I see no reason. It's just like a father telling the children that I will abandon my house and go to another man's house. The children and the family will not be comfortable. Nigeria is not supposed to be comfortable with that kind of statement. We have to investigate that situation. We are beginning to believe in some of those theories that it had to prevail, that there was something that happened. I don't want to go into this. But Nigeria, we must question Buhari. What we are motivating, what have given him that impetus to say that he's relocated to a nearby country? Why we expect Buhari now? To me, if you also want to interrogate that process, it's an acceptance that he has failed us. And he has also apologized to us, he has failed. To me, what do we now do? We now have to strategize. We don't need to be lamenting over Buhari. Buhari came, he destroyed, and he was not able to give one anything to show for it. Buhari came in the name of borrowing. Buhari's head government is still borrowing. There is nothing, Buhari has not been able to show capacity. Nothing different. When he came in the 80s, his antecedents remained. Nothing has changed about him. When in the 80s, I was just a little boy in primary school. Now, we are now in 2020 something. The same result, the same question that was set for me when I was in primary school. Who is the head of the country there? That is the question they are asking my son now. Is it the same? Nothing has changed in this country. Is that the society we want to build ourselves? Is that what we want to leave for our children? Is that what we want to leave for the unborn generation? We must continue. And for we to register our presence in terms of workable direction for Nigeria, we must continue to question those who lead this country. Because I believe that a proper dossier was not carried out of President Muhammadu Buhari. I believe we were in a hurry, we were carried away. And as to somebody like me, you can also recall, I was one of those who was also believing in Buhari. I remember some persons would call my uncle. My particular uncle was always calling me, Roy, beware of this Buhari. The way of manner you are going with Buhari. After 2 years of Buhari administration, I came to a humble conclusion that Buhari don't have anything to offer. And I since apologize to my people, and I apologize to those who believe in me that this man mismanaged us and he misperformed us. Yes, that was since then. Nothing new about Buhari government. Buhari came to destroy this country, and he succeeded in destroying the country. After destroying the country, because he have no faith, because of the high level of insecurity that have denied our system, that's the reason why the man said he's not relocating. Because he's aware that nothing on ground for him to stop the insecurity. When he came, we only have the Boko Haram. They now metamorphose. They gave them
banditry.
They are now back. Then you can see the helpless disposition of those banditry and the way they harass our people, the way they intimidate them. We were already hearing of Boko Haram as at the level of the north. But very just now, they now move to my village, Uhuadwa. People can no longer go to farm. You heard in Igwebe how they attack in Igwebe. You go to Urumi, the same thing. You go to Epuma, the same thing. For them to have that kind of leader to operate, and the president of a nation is not bothered, there is something that happened under Buhari regime that Buhari will remember. There is not, he does not take responsibility. There are no actions for consequences. When you don't take responsibility for actions and inaction, there's no government that will fail. And that is, there will be no government that will perform very well. That is the slogan Buhari is living for us. Buhari came to this country to rule us. All of us will mobilize for him. Buhari defeated an incumbent government because Nigerian people were hoping that Buhari will give us that thing. Everybody was on the street.
That's a record. That's a record, right?
Mobilizing for him, brother.
That's a record.
The records now turn out to be negative. It's very sad. It's sad indeed.
Let me pause you there. If you just joined us, you're on to Politics Today on Independent Television. Beautiful Saturday morning, looking at legacies of the outgoing administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. I want to say big thanks to our panelists for creating the time to be here. Let's just pause for a moment on those legacies, because those analyses are just taking us into deeper things. And look at the fact that on Monday, May 29, President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his Vice President-elect Kashif Shettima will be sworn in as the next President and Vice President, respectively, of our dear country, Nigeria. The analysis has been that there is need to quickly start setting agenda for the incoming administration to take Nigerians out of the woods, to take Nigeria out of the woods. So what are the major areas to focus on as far as the incoming administration is concerned? That's our next line of questioning from our panelists. Let me begin with you, Barrister Amego. Yes, quickly.
You want to tell Bola what he will do? You want to tell him what he will do for the country? He was a former governor. He performed like CDG very well. So you can't tell him what he knows what to do. He went to Paris recently. He went to sit down under the tree in Paris and think of what to do for the country. I'm assuring you that by Monday, you'll hear it, boom, boom, what he's going to tell Nigeria, and you will go with him. Because the man that is a grassroots, he knows what to do. He did it before in Lagos. And he's been doing it. When the slogan of the Milogon came up, you know all that he said. He didn't regret saying so. He went all out to letting Nigerians know why it is the Milogon. And that's what I've been leading him. So I expect very good dramatic change from the Buharian to Sirajarian. So I am very hopeful, sir, that there will be a big change.
Okay. Bishop Osabalo, yes.
Nigerians are awake now. If no person performs now, Nigerians are ready. 4 years, let it be a governor, let it be a president. That's one thing that the new party has done for us. Okay. People are now conscious. People now know that they have the power. And I'm sure that based on that, Bola Tinubu will do very well.
Bishop, you share in these sentiments. I mean, people are quick to make reference to what happened in Lagos in his days as governor of Lagos State. Lagos is just one state, not even amongst the biggest states in the country, as it were. Nigeria is such a huge country, over 200 million people. You know, we have seen those who came into government younger, they leave government older. I'm sure when President Goodluck Jonathan was leaving office, he didn't come with gray hairs, but he left with gray hairs. As civilized as America is, President Barack Obama left with gray hair. We see that happen. So, and considering the peculiarities of Nigeria, what's your take on the key areas that you expect the president, the incoming government now, to focus on to drive Nigeria in the direction it should go?
In this Asiwaju issue, I will wholly agree with my brother, Barrister Gentleman Amigo.
That we can't tell him anything.
Not that we can't tell him. No, I will say that.
That's what Barrister Amigo said, that he knows everything that we...
Yes, I will wholly agree with him that he will succeed. The reason is that in my dialect, they say the fire that will be able to get to the farm. Because those days, no matches, no lighter, nothing. So you take a firewood, you wave it like this, you'll be able to know that this fire will get to the farm. And when you get to the farm, you'll not be hungry. Because any attempt for the fire to quench on the road, you are not going to eat in the farm that day. Atuaju belong to that class, that the fire he carry will take Nigeria to a greater height. Number two, they say the man who succeeds at home will surely succeed abroad. Watch everybody. whatever we are, whether we're in our village, in our hamlet, in our town, in our city, in abroad, is as a result of what we were when we were in our little beginning. If Asiwaju had had the opportunity of being a governor of just one state out of 36 states plus Abuja 37, and a turn sea to land, dry land where they now have another city, he has a vision. He has a great mind. And I was watching people asking questions, interviewers, what are the things you are going to do when you are sworn in? He said he's still consulting. He's still putting teams together. That governance is not one-man show. That you need people who will be in government that will take responsibility. That is a leader. Any man who looked at himself and say, I, cannot go far in leadership. But when you are bringing the ideas of other people, you sit down as the last bus stop to analyze every memo sent to you. You'll be able to, out of 7, 20, 30, or 30-something ministers, advisors, you'll be able to find faith with one that will be able to work for you to make your name, so that you write your name on good. And that is why I sincerely believe that Asiwaju will never, in fact, there is no way in the whole of the history of the world that we can get anybody called Buhari in any administration. Nobody. So it's a man that if you dream of him, you better go back to bed.
Okay, all right.
All right, that is
Chief,
as far as that's concerned.
Let's get your input in terms of areas the incoming administration should focus on. There's so much about the CV based on the fact that I had the opportunity to be in the saddle in Lagos State. Many of the people who have made some analysis and talks is based on that foundation that they talk about the prospect and the potential that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed has to turn the fortunes of this country around. Do you share in these sentiments?
I'm sorry, Honorable Barrister. I don't share in your sentiment about that, your optimism about that. Neither do I share, Pastor, with your hope. And it's a myth that Asiwaju perform anything in Lagos State. It's 8 years of leadership in Lagos. So let's just look at the 8 years of leadership. He did not build one school, one hospital, or build one bridge. Lagos State is a state that has all the making of a nation. They have the seaport operational, they have the airport, both local airport and international operational, they have the bridges connecting both the mainland and island together, fully operational. But the only thing it successfully did in Lagos was create a private company, Alpha Beta, collecting 20% now from the state revenue, and with the Agbero market business that is instituted in Lagos State, we are collecting tons of money from motorists without any justification or explanation. No, these are not speculation, these are facts. No, let me finish, sir. Any area of Lagos you go to, you see street thugs, Agbero people collecting money from bus drivers. We don't know who gives them that authority or power. We know he has Alpha Beta. It means every 100 naira made by Lagos State, 20% of that goes to Alpha Beta. For what? We have civil servant collectors and revenue or stuff. So if it has enriched for the last 16 years, how many hospitals APC, forget, 20 years going now, APC have built in Lagos? None. How many seaport? None. How many bridges have they completed that cross mainland? No. I know about Lagos very well because I grew up there. So if we have to look at Asiwaju in an in-depth way, he has been able to enrich himself, his family. Another law passed as a package for when he was living. Anywhere he traveled to, and him and his family for medical care, all the travel back and forth, the Lagos State is fully financing it, including his travel.
As a former governor.
As a former finance. When we talk about the state, what he did for the state, we have to be honest and critical. We have to judge it against fact. Not hearsay opinion.
So using that or using those as a basis for your analysis, what impact do you think he can make on the polity in Nigeria?
One of the things we must give him a credit for is the fight. Either way, we can easily confirm that it's an appointed person by INEC to this presidency. Either way you look at it, until the court decide. Until the court decide, it's an anointed person by INEC.
Does he have a certificate of?
Let us call it spade. Excuse me, sir. Let's call it spade a spade. We are all intellectual adult here. None of us was born yesterday, and there's no point. Neither any of us are seeking position from this administration. We all want better Nigeria.
Absolutely.
We want a Nigeria that is governed by rule of law. We want a Nigeria that functions, a society that cares, a compassionate society that delivers the promise and the fulfillment of the state to individual people, not for the few, our self-appointed leaders. No, let us be sincere. As regards to Asiwaju, I wish him the best. If he get this nomination inaugurated on the 29th, I wish, because if he fails, Nigeria fails.
Absolutely.
If we succeed, Nigerians succeed. But we cannot then color and overpraise or put a lot of falsehood about his success in Lagos. Subsequent governors did greater things than what he did in his 8 years. All he successfully did was collect revenue. What Jakonde did in 4 years, every corner of Lagos, you will see primary school new built, although chicken coops every corner, any disputed land taking over building schools, building us. This current secretariat was built by Jakonde. The current secretary moved the secretariat from Ireland to the mighty secretariat in Lagos State. What did Tinubu achieve in Lagos State apart from enriching himself and imposing?
These parts, all of these analysis, don't you think they belong to the past? We're talking about the present and then the future by virtue of the new reality now.
No, the new reality is this. I will give him a little credit. I'm an honest analyst. It will be the first president appointed elect that will come into the office with a ready set of team, capable team. We will not suffer the suffering around the Buhari that took him almost a year to get his cabinet ready. He will come in with a team, capable, ready. And one thing you cannot underestimate Tinubu for. Anyone who underestimates Tinubu to their own power is a strategist. Is a great thinker. He has great, corrupt but great mind. However, one of the things that you will get, I'm very resolute. If they swear in, I will raise my hand, my heart, and call him my president. I will openly confess, I'm an obedient person. I'm an obedient to the core. I'm not going to deny that. But it doesn't mean that because I'm an obedient, I will then neglect my obligation to Nigeria. If he's sworn in, it's immediately my president. And I wish him the best. But one thing I know he will do when he comes in, he's going to go in with a team. Unlike any other president, he's going to go in with the experience of years, and he has won every election, either corrupt or straight, he has been. So you have the depth of experience, the depth of reach, and I will always wish him good health, because Nigeria needs that. I will wish him peace and peace, because Nigeria needs that. I will need him clear conscience and fortitude and clear direction and sense of purpose, because Nigeria needs that. Okay. So he's still going to be my president, either appointed or elected or selected.
All right, elected. Talk to us.
No, we will talk on that.
The areas of focus for the incoming administration, judging by where we are today and where we are coming from.
Yes, the man called Tinubu, personally, I have no problem with him. He's a great man. But when you are using Lagos as a case study to evaluate Tinubu, we are talking about Tinubu in his late 40s and early 50s. And Lagos was just a unit of Nigeria, a microcosm of Nigeria. Therefore, to me, you are talking about, I can confidently tell you, when my father was in his 50s, 40s, by the time we heard the noise of that bike, we already know it's him. Everybody need to go and hide. You know, that potency was there. I'm giving you a life scenario. Until when my father was 70, I got home, he was telling me, the money you guys gave me, younger brother, took it from my pocket. And I was wondering. I said, my father, how can that happen? He told me, age is no longer on my side.
What's the point exactly?
The point exactly is that Tinubu at 50, at 40, he did well in Lagos. But after 70, these are things we cannot run away from. That's my fear.
Is he 70? Is he 70?
I said in his 70s. Well, Tinubu is in his 70s now.
Okay.
He's 80 as a president in his 70s, based on records available. Okay. I was not born that time. I'm telling you, based on records available, that he's in his 70s. You understand me? Now, Tinubu starting, to me, is not starting well. Immediately he was declared the winner of the election. In his acceptance speech, he said, I know many people are not happy with me, that the man you voted for, you people did not vote for me, that the man you voted for is not here, therefore we are not happy. To me, that statement, I've been evaluating it.
Admission of guilt.
It's a statement that believe that I don't expect a man of Tinubu to go to that level. You recall, that is how President Buhari, that was where he missed the track also. When they granted an interview, he said, those who gave me 100% and those who gave me 10%, I will not give them the same opportunity. And that was why Nigeria did not work under Buhari. Very just now, in the proclamation of the legislator, the president-elect is interested. Is interested. And that is dangerous for democracy.
But that will give it stability.
No, it's not about stability. As at this level, it's just coming as at this level, you can point a direction. When you point a direction, then you now marshal how you are to deliver it without tagging a particular person.
This is not, or it came from the political party. The party spoke about who they are pushing forward for the Senate and for the House of Representatives.
I listened to the man, and he said he paid a visit to the president-elect, and he said, you are my candidate. You know, that is also my fear. You don't give opportunity. This is not the first time a president will be coming from the Southwest, or passengers from the Southwest. When he was the president, we know where the secretary to the state government, the federation was from. We know where the Senate president was from. The House of Rep speaker, we know where they came from. I see no reason why he should be in a hurry. These are things you don't need to be in a hurry to do. No, it's not about party. Now, let me also go to the party. If we are to analyze the platform, he had a platform called APC. And on that platform, Buhari also utilized that platform. If we are to read on that, you will tell me, in the West, in a local beer parlor, we will quickly conclude that weekend when we will go now from a Friday, you know. If we are to use APC as a platform to analyze Bola Ahmed Tinubu, there is nothing is going to do different. Because it's a party. They are going to be moved by their ideology. Okay. They are going to be moved by their ideology. It's only my father here who I'm able to speak, to tell the world that I'm an APC member, but I condemn this. Okay. He called APC principle. I have younger brothers who are members of this party. No matter what Buhari, anything, they are still defending it. They believe it's their party. Okay. A political party is moved by ideology. What is the ideology of APC? Using Buhari as a case study. They failed us woefully. How am I sure that Tinubu will not also go and fail us woefully? Okay. Based on what
let's keep our
it's my fear.
Let's keep our fingers crossed.
No, it's my fear. I will believe
after he's sworn in.
My hope is that I need a Nigeria that will work for me. In my lifetime, let me see Nigeria working.
Fantastic.
So that I will be celebrated. I want it to work. I want it to deliver.
Let's get your calls.
In the whole world, all the countries in the world, where a president or a prime minister will not be interested in who becomes the president of the Senate or the leader of the House of Representatives. There's no way.
No, I'm not. The interest is that I just started a case study. Okay. That the former president of Basajo is from Southwest. He said the Southeast, they are producing it. He did not pin a name to it. That is my issue. And that's the reason we are having this wrong color. All right. All these are affordable. They can be afforded. Yes, why will you be interested in one particular way? He said, we'll look at this.
Calm down.
Yes.
But you said he should not have been interested in who becomes the president of the Senate or the speaker of the House of Representatives.
Not to pin a name to it. That is my issue.
If the party has decided to do that, if the party has decided to do that, is it not binding on the president-elect?
The party, that's the reason I said we should use, if we are to use APC as a case something to judge.
It has been zoned to South-South, and it's because of our party. It's all in the papers.
Yeah.
And Tinubu just said, I promised him earlier. Remember, he stepped down for Tinubu. Okay. And asked all supporters.
So they are trading with Nigeria.
Yes, since he's not
to give him.
They are compensating him.
It's people have forgotten the Quid pro quo. It's something for something.
Pro quo,
If you're going to step down for me, I will compensate you with becoming the president of the Senate. That's politics. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Can I just interject?
Yes, I'll come to you. Yes, let me just, get the point. Yes.
Apologies, because I don't see the basis of that. In politics, you do horse trading, what you call horse trading. And if he had had some understanding with Akpabi or whoever it is, that's fine. That's not the issue, really. The issue is what's the result? What's the outcome? What's the quality of this person? As far as I'm concerned, right now, and I'll say it again, Tinubu being a president, Akpabi or whoever being, it's not the issue. The issue is, are we coming to have a government that is compassionate and caring for the citizen? Are we coming to have a government that will unite and give us peace? Are we bringing this team of people together? I concur with my dear brother here. So far, the ideology of APC that we've seen to date is not only just a failure, their failure is the outcome. The ideology is this, and if we are honest, they're professional liars. They are Minister of Information. Okay, let me explain. Hold on, let me explain. The Minister of Information, I keep calling Laya Balogun. Actually, his name is Lai Muhammad. I don't know, I got that wrong. Laya Balogun or Laya Muhammad. It's Lai Muhammad.
It's Lai Muhammad.
I'll just correct myself. Okay. Like, every third sentence that come out of his mouth is questionable. And so APC ideology has also shown us that they are professional promise and fail people. We know promises are comfort zone for fools, and they've taken us to be a fool. Everything APC, every APC government, very few have delivered. This outgoing administration they've shown that they are professional promise and fail people. This is their ideology. This is their. Another, the third part is the good mirage people, mirage showing people. You know, when you go in the desert, you see a water, a dew of sand, you think is water. They're very good at deflecting. Buhari, 8 years, is still blaming Jonathan that has gone 2015. They're very good at blame game and they blame the economy. Buhari called his own citizen lazy. I've lived in foreign world, I traveled the foreign world a lot. I've lived in 3-4 continents. There is no any other people on this planet Earth that's as hardworking, studious as Nigeria. Go to America, there's a record, the most educated, the most hardworking nation, not even black, not just black.
Presidents.
Across board, even outperforming the indigenous, the white people in America, are Nigerians. Go to United Kingdom, go to Germany, go across Europe, even in China, go to India, go to across African nations. All the students, majority of the students that are shining the best, they're Nigerians. Nigeria are the most entrepreneurial people. 90% of the business, I'll go as far as 98% of the business in Nigeria are self-made people. If you go outside Nigeria, 90% of Nigeria own businesses, established businesses. And for one failed man to call a whole youth generation lazy, unproductive, useless, and that is the mirage they present. So what are we expecting from Tinubu? And when Tinubu uses his own word, his own mouth to say, I will continue where this failed man and progress failure.
My president
stop. It means it will continue with the epidemic of failure, of disappointment, and falsehood, and Lai Balogun giving us false information.
That's the Minister of Information.
Lai Muhammad giving us false information. We have to be realistic. We are adults. Right. Let's call a spade a spade. So one of my barrister can tell but my pastor, you see, before you can treat a problem in business world that I'm very familiar, you first of all need to identify the problem, then develop a strategy, use a core strategy to deliver yourself from that problem. But if we're going to gloss over it, we're going to have another 8 years of failed promises.
Okay, that's part of the reason why we are setting.
My dear brother, you see, Why I'm not comfortable with my co-panelists is because they are politicians. And every politician in Nigeria speak to represent their party. Even though we try to exonerate a gentleman amigo, but to an extent he still has to defend his party. The truth of the matter is that the Nigerian politicians are jettisoning our laws, including those that are professional lawyers. From the statement made by my dear brother that the president was appointed or selected. You understand? As a lawyer, I think they said he's a lawyer. As a lawyer, I'm sorry to use that because we are meeting for the first time. As a lawyer, you don't use such words because there is a law which is called the Electoral Act. And this Electoral Act saddled an institution with the responsibility of conducting election and declare winner, issue certificate of return. The same electoral law says we all should mind our polling unit. That's the only place we are expected to be on the day of election. That if you are seen in another polling unit, you can be arrested. Okay. Because you are there to create problem. Yeah. And for a Nigerian man not to know what happened in all the polling unit, 176,800 and something polling unit in Nigeria. He knows, I'm coming, sir. He knows, knows what happened. What I'm driving to is this, that INEC have done their job according to law.
So
when you now, the law gave you room again. Yes. If you are not satisfied,
go to court.
You go to court.
Exactly.
And when you now institute an action in the court, you wait for the outcome of the election. Fantastic. For you not to come out and call names, selected, appointed, nominated. Wait, my dear brother. Then that again, we are exposing our nation that we are not ready to follow our law.
Okay.
I'll tell you this for free. I'll tell you this for free. Which is that
it is the height of irresponsibility for someone to do something wrong, willfully, and then you expect another person to do right, willfully. Even though we have this saying that two wrongs cannot make a right, we have this culture of impunity in this country where you do something that you know is wrong, and you tell the other man to go to court. Why are you saying the man should go to court? Because it's as good as you knowing that if he gets to court, it's already a place that you are, is an abode for you where you are comfortable. And so things will naturally go your own way. But
I cannot 100% say what you are saying is wrong, but I'm not in a position to also agree that was what was done.
Unfortunately, my time is up.
So if that is the position we are just point one thing out to say, we all need to be patient for the interest of the country. Because wherever we go, whatever we are saying, they are going to use it against us. We should find
it should be as it pleases us. Law is supposed to be holistic.
Yes.
To the point that you do right using the law, I do right using the law.
Yeah.
That's how the society can.
Yes. And because some persons will not do right, that is why the law is there to checkmate you.
All right.
And that's why the law is
Let me give law a point.
That's the rule.
To me, Nigeria that will work is what I believe. I want to quickly also correct an impression that you said you are not comfortable sitting down with us because we are all politicians. That is an error. It's quite very unfortunate. By bet,
I'm talking
human beings.
No, I'm talking about car carrying.
Because you are lying to one party. We have been together in civil society movement.
Yes.
At the time, you were nominated to lead us
Yes.
through a process.
Yes.
It was an election.
Therefore, you cannot tell us you are not comfortable with
all
it.
right.
I voted in the last election. I saw you also voted. What makes me different? I'm not in government. I've never been government.
Because you are a member of a political party.
Are you a member of a political party?
No, I don't have a party.
You have a party. I am telling you now. You have a party.
I don't have a party.
Let me just interject.
One point.
Just one point.
Yeah.
I took a bridge or an offense to his description of what I said about appointed, anointed. If we don't have a court case today to challenge the result, there is no point of saying this was fair or not fair. It was because the process was unfair and somebody felt he's been cheated.
Okay.
PO felt he's been cheated.
Okay.
I mean, Peter Obi, sorry, felt he's been cheated, and that needs to be addressed.
So
There's a protocol to that.
We can't discuss that.
It's up to this, yeah.
Yes,
So, well, gentlemen, our time is up, and I
Yes,
really
we can.
want to thank every one of you for, spending such a great time with us here in the studio. Children's Day, Politics Today on independent television. I want to say big thanks to Comrade.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And Chief,
Thank
thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much,
So, thank you for coming.
God bless you.
And the erudite vice, the gentleman of men, always a delight to have you here. Well, that's our package for today on the program. We hope you had a great time with us. My name is Sonny Duke Okosun. Thank you for staying with us. Have a great weekend. And once again, happy Children's Day. Bye for now.